Hello and welcome to episode 1 of how to make a resource pack, where today we're going to be learning exactly how to make animated textures, specifically item and block textures. So behind me right now I have actually some examples. I have some raw salmon that I ended up creating, as well as these twisting vines. Of course they're not perfect right now because I haven't taken enough time to edit with them, but we're going to be learning exactly how to make these type of textures, these animated textures. And we're going to be focusing specifically on the Eye of Ender. And then we're going to also need the end portal frame real quick. We're going to be working on the Eye of Ender as well as the eye inside of this Ender portal frame. So this is technically a block texture. And then we also have the item texture, and we're going to animate it so that way the eye ends up opening and closing right now. Okay, so to start off, I would suggest opening up both your resource pack as well as your resource pack development folder. So currently I have my resource pack inside of my resource packs folder. Again, if you don't remember how to get there, you could go to your Minecraft, go to your options, to your resource packs, and then open the pack folder, and then that'll lead to your resource packs folder right here. If your resource pack is currently inside of your resource pack development folder, you could drag it over, or you can make a copy, whichever one you want to do. Just remember that once you're done doing your edits, to make another copy and paste it over here inside of your resource pack development folder. Once you've got in here, you go to your resource pack, go to your assets, then Minecraft, then textures, and then there's block, and then there's item. To start off, we're going to be working with item. Right here I have my fish, specifically my salmon. And we're going to be working on that first. So to do that, we're going to be going to the assets folder. If you didn't copy paste it, then you're going to go to Minecraft, textures, and then you're going to go to item. If you ended up just dragging the assets folder over, you'll already have all these textures. You won't have to worry about this. But if you decide to make all the folders brand new, like I suggested, it'll make it a lot easier, especially when it comes to organizing all your textures. Alright, so we're going to be going to look up the Eye of Ender. So over here we have the Ender Eye. So what we're going to do, just to start off, we're just going to drag this over into our item folder over here for our resource pack. And then we'll go from here and expand upon it. So again, open up whatever program you would like to use to edit your photos. Again, as long as it does transparent images, you should be fine. In my case, I'm using Sprite. So right here I have Sprite. And it's opened up on my other screen. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to go to the item folder and open up my Eye of Ender texture. If you're using another program, you could do right click and then try to open with, and then find the program that you're going to be using. So you could open it up with paint.net, Affinity Designer, or whatever program you're using. Once you've opened it, you're going to be learning exactly where it is that you could expand your canvas. So expanding your canvas would be the easiest option. You could also make an entirely new texture, but in my case, I'm gonna be expanding my canvas and making it about 3 times the height. So a Minecraft texture is 16 by 16 by default, unless you're doing something of a bigger size, in which case you could do 32 by 32. Just remember, you're going to need a lot more pixels. So by default, Minecraft is 16 by 16, and we're going to be wanting to do 3 image animations, and by what you'll see what I mean by that. So in that case, we're going to need a height of 48 pixels, and you can see that my image has scaled to it. For simplicity, we're going to just copy paste the image. So to copy paste the image, there's usually a selection tool. In my case, I have this rectangle tool. You might also have something similar to this lasso tool, which if you use the lasso tool also works. But we're gonna want to copy paste it into, like equidistant from each other. And In this case, we have these each in their own 16 by 16 grid boxes, which works out perfectly for us. And from here, everything will be a lot easier, and all we have to do is just animate these images. So I'm going to create like 3 different phases of this eye opening and closing, and then I'll get back to you once I've done that. Okay, so I've created my images. Now, I don't personally like how I've created these, but for the sake of this video, we're just gonna keep it as is. I'll edit this after the fact and make it look a bit prettier and more to my personal standard. But as you can see, I have this one that's fully open, one that's like half open, and this one that's like fully closed. And so what we're gonna end up doing is we're gonna actually animate these images. But first we're going to have to just save the PNG, or if we've created a new one, replace the previous one. So this should in theory show up over here. So as long as I show the extra large icon, you kind of see over here that I have the Ender Eye PNG showing. Now to animate these images, we're actually going to need to create a new file. It's going to be a notepad or whatever text document you could use to make it. I'm actually going to be using the text document just because I have it right here, and we're going to name it after the name of the image that we're going to be animating. So we're going to do enderai.png.mcmeta. Now MCMETA is a specific type of file. It's used kind of for, I guess it's like simple coding, I guess one can call it. So once you've named it the MCMETA file, this file is attached to this Ender Eye, and it's pretty much telling Minecraft, hey, execute whatever inside of this notepad, and we're going to use it in this case to animate. So to start off, we're going to be doing these brackets. These brackets are kind of like the code, or if you're a programmer, it's kind of calling the function. We could technically call the enderai.png.mcmeta a function, and it's telling it to do this animation. And to make it a little bit nicer, we're going to be moving the bracket down here, tabbing over, and we're going to be making another bracket. There's going to be a lot of brackets for this, by the way, and we're going to be doing frame time. So there's 3 different forms of animation for your Minecraft textures. The one we're going to be working with right now is going to be frame time, and so you pretty much, it's like how often do you want it to switch between the images. So just for testing, we're going to do 2. If you're an animator, they do it usually by 2s. It looks okay, but it's not what we're going to end up going for. So once you've done this, you could save it doing Control S, or you go up to the file and save as, or save in this case. And then it should overwrite the original. Then you have to just go back to Minecraft and back to your world. And once we're here, then you can test out the texture. So if I look up eye, Ender, and then refresh the resource pack, now we have this eye of Ender, which is spazzing out at the moment, closing and opening its eye. So you kind of see how the image kind of like goes from the last frame, which is like fully closed, to a fully open one. We don't want that. We want it to like go backwards and then slowly open it up again. And also we want it to not go as quickly. Now, in order to do that, we're going to be having to change the actual the frame time. So let me bring this up. We're going to end up changing the frame time to frames instead. So what frames does is that it pretty much tells us what order we want to do the textures in. So for this, we're going to do frames, and then we're going to put in whatever order we want to do it. So we want to do 0, 1, 2. So 0 is referring, if I bring up the images again, 0 is referring to this one. This is considered 0. They do this a lot, especially in code, where the first thing in whatever list you're trying to do is going to be considered 0. Then the next one is 1, and then this one would be considered 2. Even though it's 1, 2, 3, this is 0, and then it goes to 1, and then to 2. So you're gonna have to remember that, because this is gonna be a consistent thing with any Minecraft texture packs you're gonna be doing down the road. So once you've done that, you could save, go back to Minecraft, get yourself another Eye of Ender, and then refresh your resource pack. Now, it's kind of hard to see, but it is changed, and it is closing and then opening again. But now we have another issue. Now the frames are going way too fast. And that's where the third thing in animation ends up coming up, which is the delay of frames. So we have the frames, but now we have to just put them in the order that we want to do it. Or in the speed that we want to do it, I mean. So what we're going to end up doing is pretty much deleting this right now, and we're going to do even more brackets. And we're going to be doing something called an index. The index is pretty much referring to the frame of the image that you're going to be doing for the Ender Eye. So again, we're doing frame 0 first, and we're going to be putting a delay or a frame time, technically, of, let's say, 10 seconds. Because what we want is for it to like pause when it starts. So that way it's not constantly opening and closing. We want it to stop for a while, the animation. We're going to put it at 10, and then we're going to be pretty much copying and pasting the same thing. So we do an index 1, referring to frame 1, or the middle image of what we were doing, where it was only slightly open. And then we're going to be doing a time amount of 3, referring to it's on that image frame still for only 3 frames technically, or 3 ticks. And then we're going to be doing one for index 2, which refers to the final image. Oh man, if I could type correctly. And we're going to be giving that the time of 3 as well. Now that we have the images, we could go back to Minecraft, and if we look, and I keep deleting the Eye of Ender, and refresh the resource pack, we have this like pause where when we get to the one where it's fully open, it stops for a longer amount of time than the other animations. But the only problem is that once it gets to the fully closed one, then it fully opens again, instead of going back to the middle animation. So to do that, we're going to be going back, and index 1, which is referring to the one that's slightly open, we're going to copy that and adding that afterwards. We're going to give that the same time of 3. And so pretty much what happens is we're going 0, 1, 2, then we go back to 1, and then once it's done that, then it's going to reset back to 0. So again, it goes 0, 1, 2, back to 1, and then it resets back to 0 over here. So then we're going to get a nice smoother animation when it comes to the texture. So if we do F3 and T, see, now we have this beautiful animation where it like opens and closes at a nice speed, and you can see the full animation of the texture. You get that middle one where it's like slightly closed or slightly open, depending on how you want to see it. And then we have and then it goes between all the frames in a nice consistent way. Now, we're gonna end up doing the block texture. So what you want to do is that you're gonna want to go to your blocks folder, and you could exit out of this MCMETA file for your PNG, and we're gonna end up getting a new texture. So in the case, like I kind of brought up at the beginning, we're gonna be doing the eye, the end portal frame eye, and we're going to be dragging that over here into the blocks area. By the way, don't worry if you look it up, it'll be gone. Because it just transferred it over here. As long as you're not in different computer drives, then it'll just move it over instead of copying it. So once you've done that, you could open this up in whatever preferred program you have. I'm going to be opening it up here again. So I'm going to drag the image over, and now that we've done that, we should be able to just edit this. So again, we're going to copy this image, expand your canvas size or make a new one, and we're going to be doing the exact same thing. So we're going to be doing 48. 48 is just 3 times the size of 16. You paste it and move them to their corresponding areas. Again, equidistant from each other. This is 3 pixels away, 3 pixels away in this case, and again 3 pixels from the bottom. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to have the fully open one, slightly open one. So we're going to end up putting, maybe we'll have this like half open, and we'll have another one that's just like fully closed. So I'll get back to you once I've done this again, and then we'll go over exactly how to animate the block. Okay, and there we are, we're done. So again, we have these textures, again not my favorite, but they'll work for now. For the sake of the video, we'll save the image, and then once we go back to the folders, let me open up both, we'll have the already finished 3-frame texture. And in much similar fashion, we're going to create another text document, and we're going to name it the end underscore portal underscore frame underscore I dot png dot MCMETA. And yes, we're gonna want to change that. Open it up, and we could pretty much copy what we had in the previous thing. And since you've already learned exactly how to make the different frames, in this case we could just copy and paste it, and it'll look almost perfect. So now once we've done that, we could go back to Minecraft. We could get ourselves the eye ender and the portal frame. We can place it down, we can put the eye in there, and then once we refresh our resource pack, it'll be animated. And there we go. Now we have the fully animated texture, and then the eye that closes, and we also have the eye of ender, which opens and closes. And again, you could even add more in between animations. That just means that you're going to end up having to expand the canvas more. Again, for each of the different images, you're going to want to add an extra 16 in height, and then again you're going to want to count up with your animation. So this would be 1, 2, 3. Oh, actually, wait, sorry. You're going to want to count up with your animation from 0, 1, 2. Oh, this is such an ugly looking 2, and then it would be 3, 4, and so on. And then when you do the animation, you're going to want to make sure that you do it according to those numbers. So again, we had the two, there are the 3 frames, so it only went up to 2. But if you had more, you would go 4 for the index, or 5, or 6, or however many you have. And again, you just repeat the same thing over and over and over and over again for any texture that you want to animate. If you guys have any questions, leave them down in the comments. I'll answer them as soon as I can. In our next video, we're going to be going over how to make alternate textures, so that way when you place multiple of one block, they're not all going to look the same, kind of like the bookshelves. So we'll have some with like potions, or some with books of different colors, or different stuff. And we're going to be learning how to do this for any form of block, so that way we could get some more variation inside of your own builds. Again, if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like, subscribe if you can, and we're going to be uploading a lot of videos this month, so I would really appreciate any form of support I can get.